Well, hello, everybody. Welcome again to another segment of From the Ground Up, where we talk to new and upcoming entrepreneurs. My name is C, and my channel is All Things Crafting. I'm the owner of CLM Custom Designs on YouTube as well as Etsy. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you already have not, so that you don't miss any content that I drop, which is weekly, and interviews every 2 weeks. So now that that is out of the way, let's get into it. We are talking to Lamia today. So introduce yourself and tell the people what you do.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna from Lamia Scents and Fragrances, and I'm an independent Scentsy consultant. So I sell fragrances um, as a Scentsy consultant, and um, I'm from Guam. So I just moved to Maryland about a year ago, and it has been lovely. What brought us out here was I started working. I was working for a company on Guam, and so the contract on Guam ended. So I brought my family here to continue working for the same company.
Okay, nice, nice. So welcome here. I mean, it's been a year, but still welcome. I'm glad that you're enjoying it here. So did you decide on a side hustle while you were in Guam? Did you have something going on there aside from your regular 9 to 5, or did you just decide to jump into something when you got over here in the States?
Actually, for me personally, I like keeping busy. So on Guam, I did also have some side hustles, which include double jobbing or um, also um, donating my time to help people with their fundraisers, whether it be medical or death. Um, I've helped being a, I was a treasurer for a billiards group on Guam. So, um, yeah.
Right. You've always had your hands in a whole bunch of things, right? Needless
Oh,
to
yeah.
say. So just doing one thing was never going to work for you. So you get over here to the States, and how do you settle on Scentsy? Did you look at a lot of different things? Did you automatically know you wanted to gravitate towards that? And Serena says, welcome as well. So how did you settle on Scentsy?
Okay. So, um, after settling down, it did take me a couple of months, um, to finally get things in the groove with knowing how and to get around and stuff. And I felt like I was in a place and it was time for me to start investing. And I was thinking, should I buy a business such as like a bar or a restaurant? Or, I was just like looking for anything to invest in. But then um, for me, I've been a Scentsy customer also on Guam. So I'm
Okay.
already familiar with the product. And it just took me one day. I was looking around the mall months after this decision that I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this. So I just, after strolling around the mall, I just went up to the consultant and say, hey, can I join?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you got to do what you love. So you were already buying the product, so
mm,
that means you already love the products. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Sometimes we make things harder than what they need to be because we're like, oh, what should I do? Like you said, buy a bar, like all of these things. When it's like, hey, if I already love what I'm partaking of, then why not make that my thing, right? Because you already knew about the products, you were already hooked on the products. So it was kind of an easy lane for you to slide into, right?
oh,
Business
yes,
wise.
definitely.
And like
Familiar-
you said,
Familiarity did help.
yeah, yeah. And you had already made up your mind that you wanted to do something, but it's so funny walking around the mall made it pop back into your head, like, oh, there's a Scentsy rep, right?
Yeah.
And then I love the fact that you just walked up and said, hey, can I join? Because at that point, you could have talked yourself out of it, maybe not, you know what I mean? But you were like, hey, I'm right here, the opportunity's here, so let me just jump in. So I absolutely love the fact that you just said, you know what, today is the day. So that's awesome. So how long ago was that? How long you actually been in Scentsy?
I actually met her like, I want to say June 10th.
Okay.
I told her I was going to call her later that night, but because my family and I decided to go to across the street, because I met her in White Marsh, I decided to go with my family to the Avenue later that night. So I ended up not being able to call her, but I did contact her that following morning, just explaining that I was so sorry because, um, you know,
Bringing it back with her.
seemed inappropriate with the time that I came home. I don't know the etiquette here, so I was like, oh, maybe 9 o'clock is too late. Yeah.
Gotcha. But I'm sure you have since found out that we are all up at 9 o'clock. So no, it's not too late. So that's great. So not quite a year, but almost about 6 months or so, give or take. So you decided to.
Yeah, 4 months.
Oh, 4 months. Okay. Yeah. So you decided to jump in head first, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
how has that experience been? Have you been able, because of course, like you said, you're new here, so you don't know anyone. So now you have to really kind of really start from the ground up, right? From scratch, getting customers, advertising, getting your name out there. So talk a little bit about what that experience was like.
I felt like, yeah, I was going out. I definitely, Scentsy has pushed me out of my comfort zone. But because I wanted it so badly, it really motivated me and pushed me to just like, you know what, I got to do this. I know no one here, and how am I going to get my business running? So, like, I do vending events, I approach people now. So it's like, getting to know people and then bringing it up. Usually I just don't bombard people or people's phones on a daily or on a monthly basis. It's like, you need something, let me know. Yeah,
Okay, right.
really no pressure to my customers, but should they be on the lookout for something, of course I'll let them know, or like if there's sales I'll let them know, but it's nothing like I'm going to message them every week. Or sometimes my customers don't hear from me even for about a month. But I do actually get to know my customers on a familiar basis, you know
Mm-hmm.
be friends with them, because I want to have them gain their trust in me, and hopefully I can get their loyalty as well.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, when you do that, you get to know what they want so that when you are having upcoming products that you know will appeal to them, you can
Mhm.
certainly reach out and say, hey, I thought about you when this came out, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that like, no trust. People have to like you and they get to know you and then they trust you. And then, like you said, it's a loyalty. But I love the fact that you really started with a clean slate, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I can't go into a certain business or do a certain thing because I don't have this network of people, right? So
Yeah.
not only did you not have clients, but you also really didn't have support over here, just in terms of people who could help you out with your business, or, connect you with the right people, because you are literally from scratch. So
Yes.
anybody out there who's saying, hey, I can't do this because I don't have the foundation, I don't have plugs, I don't have this or that, this interview is for you, because she is going to show you exactly how she did what she did. And one thing that you said, because you wanted it so badly, you
Mhm.
allowed that to be your motivation to do what you needed to do. So I absolutely, absolutely love that. So how long was it before you got your first sale?
It wasn't long. I started a week. So for like maybe about a week, I was like, man, how am I gonna, get out there? So I started looking online for vending events, and I went to my first event before my 2 weeks. I did well there.
Okay.
I did make back my table and then some. And the
Nice.
great thing about it was that I truly love the people I met at my first vending event, because, even though I didn't know them or like anything, it was like these people are still with me today. We are helping from the vendors. We're helping each other find other finding other events
Yeah.
customers, they're reordering. So I'm really glad that my first event has, got me a lot of reoccurring customers and 3 friends from it, really.
Well, that's nice. Because you need to build a community, right? So you go to
Mhm.
your first event, but like you said, it had to take you out of your comfort zone. Sometimes in order to grow, we do have to kind of stretch out of that comfort zone, do
Yeah.
things that we wouldn't normally do. So we can have that reaction that we need. So even though it can be done, it is going to require you to do some things probably that you're not comfortable with doing. But if you want it bad enough, the motivation is there,
Yeah.
then you will go ahead and get it done. I love Serena's comment because I have to go back when I said that you didn't have any support. Your son, so true. He is typically with you at your events and he's always handing out samples or he's always going around to the other vendors and letting them know about his mom. So you do actually have support. So I shouldn't say that. I know your husband drives you around too, but yeah, your son is the cutest because you would almost think he's a Scentsy rep too, because he he definitely plugs it out there for you. So we definitely want to give him his
Yeah.
shout out tonight because he works hard to support mom, and we absolutely love that because we do recognize that.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it was that I got into this thinking that it would be something for my daughter could do, but it ended up being my son, and he is so excited about it. He smells every scent that comes in. He always has an opinion, and he always tries to pushes what he would, work for someone.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
listens to their needs.
Well, you know what? He's learning from mom. That means that he's getting that entrepreneurial bug too. So that's something that you definitely want to nurture. And what's kind of nice is now, since he has that, like, I'm gonna call it a kids line. It's probably, I mean, adults like Disney and things like that too, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna call it a kids line. So that probably really gets him, interested in that because
Yeah.
it's something that he can get into too. So I think that that's awesome. So it didn't take you a long time to get your first sale. You had a vendor event
Mhm.
and you vetted it because of course we always talk about how you can get burned on vendor events and things
Yes.
like that. So what was your experience like? Because I know you experienced that unfortunately a little bit, trying
God.
to get into the vendor
That,
space.
that like broke my heart. I was so discouraged because I lost like $200 that I didn't make yet,
Mm,
you know? So, you know, I posted, I didn't, let me tell you where I'm coming from, okay? On Guam, it's like, there's networking, everyone knows each other. But here, because I came out here not knowing a lot of things, what had happened was that I thought that because we're in the States now, that it is normal to do like card transactions, uh, you know, digitally. So they asked me to send it friends and family. And because I'm not familiar with PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, any of those stuff, I kind of just let it go friends and family. But, when I contacted the person to get more information and stuff, they were starting to blow me off, So I just
yeah.
bad, like I feel like when someone scams a person, it's like, hey, you're not only stealing from me, you're stealing from my children.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But I'm glad that you did not let that deter you because in business there are ups and downs, there's peaks and valleys. And of course, I know unfortunately one of your first experiences into the States was not a good representation. But I'm glad that you did not let it deter you, that you just realized, okay, I have to vet these a little bit more thoroughly. And of course, I have a funny story to go along with that because uh, I don't. I think I just met you online, right? So
Yeah.
I posted. I was having my own vendor event, and I was posting for vendors and things like that. Hey, Olivia, and you reached out and was like, "Hey, is this a thing? Like, is this a legitimate thing?" And I was like, "Yeah." We were texting back and forth. And you was like, "I don't know," like. And
You had to actually call me.
called you. I think we FaceTime. I think you were like calling the location. Like she was really, really betting it. But I had felt bad because you had been burnt. So it was like, I'm not paying up front. I'll pay you when I get there. I'll give you a little deposit or whatever. And, I was willing to do that because I could tell that you wanted to be a part of the event, but that you had been burnt. And I think sometimes in business, we have to recognize that because
Yeah.
there are so many scams and things like that. Sometimes we have to give people a little leeway because when you do that, you end up getting someone who's loyal. And in my case, I was like, hey, I want somebody who's going to follow me to the events that I do too and be a part of my community. And it all worked out. But there were multiple people who kind of felt that way, unfortunately, because online there are a lot of scams. But so we're not saying that everything about business is perfect and you will have to go through your hiccups and things like that. But you push through, you take the loss and you turn it around and you make it better because since then, all you've been doing is vendor events now.
Yes.
Right.
Events, and then I also been doing online shopping links as well.
Okay. So do you do this? You said you came here for a job. Are you still working your 9 to 5 and this is on the side? Is this your full-time thing now? What is this Scentsy thing looking like?
So yes, when I say I like being busy, I love being busy. So I am juggling my full-time job, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
Oh.
My children, and they're in sports. I have my family doing family things, and on that I could comfortably say I am, I'm doing well in Scentsy as well. So
nice.
Feel like anyone can do this, honestly. And just because I may be going over the top, you don't exactly have to follow in my footsteps and do what I do. The business is so flexible where, it's like if you see something I'm doing and you like it, you could try it out. But if you can come up with other avenues that helps you bring money in, then, you can make your own path.
Right.
From all the other consultants, because as a consultant, we also have like maybe 2 groups on Facebook where we help each other become successful.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned Facebook. Let's talk a little bit about social media because I do see you posting a lot, showing your product. So
yes,
since COVID, and I guess you came here after COVID, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that pushed us all online kind of, which was a good thing, really. It gave us an avenue, it gave us a way to be able to touch people or reach people that we would be able to reach in our everyday lives. So talk a little bit about how social media kind of works for you. People are scared of social media. People don't want to be online. They don't want to show their face, but you kind of really utilize that well in your business.
Oh, yes. In all honesty, this is like another breaking point of me that I had to like overcome, because for me, I didn't even have an Instagram before I started Scentsy. I have an Instagram now because of Scentsy.
Okay.
My Facebook looked like you would only see me online for like 30 minutes. You'd be lucky to see me once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Now it's like and making videos. Oh my God, making videos, taking pictures. I could have never done that, of my, if you check my cat photos, you will never find, or it'll be a long while until you see an actual photo of me. So here I am doing videos, definitely out of my water. I don't even know how to edit them. That's why they're probably so, I would say they're raw, like unedited versions of things,
Right. But that's real. So it's okay.
Yeah. It has helped me tremendously. I got a good following, and I do contact them also away from like not publicly, but like messaging wise. I'd have people messaging me or like, hey, can I get a sample of that scent, the one that you just did? So I'd mail them out a sample, and I'll see an order pop up within before the weekend. So it's like, oh yay. It's so exciting.
And I think that that speaks to as well. You don't have to be pushy. Like you said, they know what you have. If they
Hmm.
want it, they can come to you. And I'm sure they appreciate you not being pushy. A lot of people feel like, oh, I can't do a business like that because I don't want to constantly be asking people. I don't want to be, you don't have to be, right? If you have a good quality product that you believe in, right?
Hmm.
You just share that with people.
It's exactly what I believe. Like, I feel like Scentsy sells itself. All you have to do is just share it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
that
yeah,
one.
that's true of a lot of things, and I love the fact that you said about your video, things like that. Raw is so good because you know what? The average person isn't editing videos, and they just want to see you in your house. They just want to see you what you're doing. You know what I mean? They want to be able to relate to you as this is the same kind of stuff that I do. This is how I live my life, and this is how Scentsy is going to fit into that. So I think when you show them that instead of everything needing to be neat, polished, and in a bow, because that's not real life, right? So I
Yeah.
think people can really appreciate that, right? So I think that's good. And the fact that you said again that had to bring you out your comfort zone. You didn't even have Instagram. You probably had to learn social media, like you said, you didn't know about all the apps and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that definitely shows people, you came here knowing nothing, you jumped into it, decided what you wanted to do, you got busy, you started doing that, was something that you were already familiar with, and you just realized that there were other avenues that you could tap into. And so sometimes we get stuck in our ways and we only want to do things this particular way.
Mhm.
But sometimes we have to change and we have to adapt and we have to go where the people are. People are online, you know,
Okay.
go where they are, yeah. And to the vending events as well. So I absolutely love that. So now that you've been doing it, you said for 4 months, and you said that you're relatively successful, like right where
Mm-hmm.
you are. So what is your vision for where you would like Scentsy? Do you see it as potentially being being full time, adding more time to it, maybe backing away from your 9 to 5? Do you see it growing? Do you currently have a team? Is your team growing? Like, what does that look like?
I do have a team. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going well. As far as me leaving my job, it's a far stretch. It's a far stretch only because, unfortunately, Sensi doesn't provide healthcare, and that's one of the things that my family needs.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about, healthcare outside my work, because
Mhm.
I've always had healthcare with my work, and I've been with the company for several years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I have my retirement in there. Um, I do, I'm sticking with this long term. So I'm thinking that, like, once I retire from my 9 to 5 job, I will be doing Sensi like full time. It'll be my full time. I feel like Sensi is going to stay with me. You know, it's like you enter Sensi with one purpose, and the longer you stay in it, you're going to end up staying for a different purpose. You're going
Right.
to stay.
Yeah. And your business plan changes, as you get older, your family needs change, your
Mhm.
business plan needs to change, it needs to shift so that it can match that, right?
Yes.
Totally, totally makes sense. Totally understand that. So you talked about having a team. You've done a lot within the 4 months that you've been here. You already have a team going, and you already got your sales going, and you're doing, your web things, your website. You got your Facebook going on. Or, oh, not Facebook. Are you on Facebook and Instagram, or just Instagram?
I'm doing both.
Okay. Are you dabbling into TikTok? Are you? That seems to be the rage with the young people. I'm just
Yeah.
curious. You say not yet, right?
That's like another thing I'd have to learn.
Yeah,
I think
it
I'm
can be overwhelming.
Yeah, because like the good thing about it, like Facebook has this thing where you can hook up your Instagram to Meta Business, I believe.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so really I just make a post on Meta Business, and I'll post it both on my Facebook
Oh,
and my Instagram.
okay. You've taught me something. I did not know that. I'm a little social media challenged myself. I mean, I can get through some things, but it can be a struggle on the back end. But so I didn't know that. That's nice that you can use Meta Business, and that's good to know because a lot of people shy away from social media because they feel like it is so many things I got to learn. I got to post here, I got to post there, I got to post there. But if
Yep.
there is this one centralized place,
Mhm.
Meta Business, where you can post and it just shoots it out for you, and I think if I'm not mistaken, you also might can connect the store there too, so that they can, I think, see your
Mhm.
products and things like that as well. So,
Yes. And the good thing about it too is that you can schedule it.
oh,
So I could schedule all my posts for a week or all for a month, and then I don't have to touch it again, you know? So even though it looks like I'm working full time online, that is not the case.
got you.
Yeah, there are shortcuts, and I'm glad I found these out, you know, as I was making my business.
hmm
Yeah.
So if you could say, like, if you could go back and say, "Oh, I wish when I got started, I did this a little bit differently." Can you think of anything that you wish that maybe you would have done differently, or maybe started earlier, or
I think that was my thing. I was like, man, I wish I did this earlier. But like seeing as like, you know, even though I wish I started earlier, it's like where I am at now, it's like it couldn't have come at a better time in my life, you know,
okay.
because like back then it would have been difficult as opposed to now.
Yeah, yeah. It does have to come at the right time, so that's important. But you always had the vision. It was just a matter of when could you execute your plan. So I absolutely love that. And now you got your family on board and they're supporting you and they're going with you. And we talked about your son. I love the fact that he's doing that as well. Um, something else that's really big right now that I haven't looked into, and oh, correct me if you've taught me this and I don't know it, but um Pins Pinterest, that's the word I'm looking for.
Oh,
Pinterest. So that's like so big now with people posting on there and getting things out. Is that something else that you got to look into, or have you been dabbling in that?
not for some, just for like ideas, like vendor setup ideas or post
Okay.
ideas, you know, because like sometimes the well done run dry, or like I get
Sure.
a writer's block sometimes. Oh, it's like I need some creative inspiration. So I'll be looking on like Pinterest or online Google searching, and at the same time I'm like listening to training videos.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Sometimes we do get a block. Sometimes we get burnt out.
Hmm.
There's a lot of times when you got to kind of recharge yourself and get your mojo back on. So yeah, Pinterest does have a lot of great ideas, like you said, Googling. That's all good as well. So do you have a lot of clients from work?
Yes, actually, that's what kind of helped me jumpstart my business. Um, my coworkers have been so supportive with me that it's like
Nice.
believable. Like, I get coworkers that come up to me. It's like, hey, can I place an order? And then they'll ask me again the following week. And then here I am. I'm thinking, like, didn't you just place an order last week? And they want more stuff. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let me help you with that, And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been selling like hotcakes crazily at my work. And I truly appreciate coworkers that, they support me in this endeavor. And, I noticed that their interest was growing because initially when I passed out samples, they're all like, what's this?
Mm.
Know it or understand it at first. But then as like I want to say like by the third week when I was passing out samples, they're already turning around their chairs and like already going like this. Oh, what should I
Yeah.
be now?
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because you would think, oh, everybody knows about Scentsy, right? Oh, I don't want to get into that because everybody knows about that. And here you're finding people that don't really know what it's about, or may have heard the name but not really familiar with it. So I tell people all the time, don't assume that people know something about it, because a lot of times they don't, or they may have just heard of the name. So it's your job to really explain to them and kind of really let them know. And Scentsy, from whence I even knew it
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, is so much more now. I mean, companies grow and they evolve, and so they have so many more
Yes.
things that they add as time goes along. So let's speak to that a little bit. So it is wax melt, right?
Yes.
One aspect of it, but I think the one thing that I liked about it so much, being married to a firefighter, he does not like lit fires in the house. So since he was always the plug-in kind of warmer things, right? Am I correct with that? But they
Yeah.
do have tea lights too. Is it a combination?
It
Oh,
actually no flame, no soot, no smoke.
okay.
Our products are lifetime guaranteed and it's completely 100% safe. Um, the warmers don't even heat to the point where it can burn you. So it's, it's pretty friendly with children along with pets. Everyone thinks of the wax, but honestly, it's like wax could be melted. You can touch it. Like my younger children, my son that everyone knows, he just like dips his whole fingers in there and he doesn't get burned because the warmers warm it up to, like, let's say even body temperature, because that's when they start to melt. At 80 degrees they start melting, so it doesn't take a lot of energy to warm these melts. And the price of it, people do ask, so what's the power bill like on this thing? Well, technically, if you were to leave it on for like a whole year, you'd pack the price of power would be like a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
You said for a whole year?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Really low wattage and low efficiency.
Okay, okay. So that's good to know, because in my mind, I don't know why I thought it was tea lights, but that's and you have plugins? I
Yeah,
mean, like you know what I mean when I say
we do have wall warmers.
yes, that's the word. Wall warmers.
Uh, we also have something that they developed where it's now a fan. So the fan blows through through the scent thing. Let me show you real quick. So this is the pod, and a fan blows through this
Hmm.
versus the fragrance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they've developed warmers for this so that, when children or pets knock it over in the restroom or in the hallway, no wax spills. So since
Nice.
developed that to combat like wax spills from children or pets.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So where can people find you at if they want to? We got some stuff scrolling on the bottom, but how will people find you if they want to find you?
You can find me on Facebook as Lamia Scents and Fragrances. Um, on Instagram, I am Lamia underscore 2623.
Okay. Now I have to go back because your name is Anna. So
Yeah.
tell me where the name. I'm always curious how people come up with their business names. So tell me what Lamia is about. I know it has to have some type of meaning, I'm sure.
Um, it's not as deep as you think. It's from like when I was much younger, like in high school, I used to go around with my brother biking. So his biking group, one of his friends just gave me the name, and
Oh,
it wasn't even a close friend or whatever, but it stuck.
okay.
My nickname in high school. And sometimes it's like when people find out my real name, like my friends back in high school, it's like, what? I don't even know you. Because the teachers called me Lamia.
Oh, wow.
So, when they find out it's like Anna, they're all like, who are you?
Okay, good to know. So you'll answer by either one. That's good to know. Good to know. Okay. Lamia Scents and Fragrances. Love it. So if you had to give people a bit of advice, Firebug said that was deep. Even though you didn't think that story was deep, he was like, "Yeah, that was a deep story." But I just love your story, your journey, in of itself. You were using a product in Guam. You come over here and you decide, I've been using this. Um, going to now decide to make this my business. I know absolutely no one, zero people, and literally you built it from the ground up, and it's only been 4 months and it's still growing and growing and growing. So if you had advice, because now nobody has an excuse. Anybody out here who wants to start a business, I no longer want to hear excuses, because Anna/Lamia has just told you you have none. But if you had some advice for someone, what would you give them?
Honestly, it will get tough at times, but I think perseverance is the one that will really get you farther along. Like, even like everyone is so into instant gratification to the point where no work is needed, but it is actually needed to cultivate a business. So my advice is, really, if this is something you want, you would put your heart and soul into this. Giving up is not even an option. You just got to find what works for you, do what works for you, and you'll do well.
Yeah, yeah. And not everybody's business looks different. Like you said, you're not looking at quitting your job anytime soon. However, your model looks like, when I retire from this job, then yeah, this will be my thing. So you're going to hold on it until then. Somebody else, it might be, hey, I'm trying to use this to get me out of work. So it doesn't really matter what your business model looks like. You got to work it, right? You definitely got to work it. And like we said, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's not always going to be easy. And it's okay to take a break sometimes. Like we said,
Oh, yeah.
we get burnt out, we do whatever. Sometimes you need to take a break and shut it down.
Times, because remember, we can be emotionally and mentally drained. So a little inspo doesn't, it doesn't hurt. You want how other people are doing it.
Yeah. And you don't want to, when you're tapped out, you have nothing to give. So you have to refill your bucket from time to time, so that you can service other people. And that's really what having a business is about. It's really about servicing other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely wonderful. And I go back to, I love the fact that your son is so invested in your business, and that he's got the bug from his mom. So I absolutely love that. So keep nurturing that. Don't kill that, because that's our next generation of entrepreneurs.
Can I actually add something?
You certainly can.
It was actually his idea to be the one to approach the vendors or other people to let them know about me. It's like, hey, yeah, like our first event, he was all like, hey, Mom, can I get some business card and samples? And I was like, okay, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to pass it around. And at the first event, he's actually brought in customers, know?
Nice.
I guess he has like a magnetic and, a refreshing attitude, to the point where it's like, it piques people's interest. Like, oh my God, this kid, he's a guy or he's a boy and he's talking about fragrances.
Yep. Serena said he's turning on the charm. So absolutely. And it's always refreshing when you see a respectful young person come up to you, greet you, speak to you in that manner. So you've done a great job, I'm sure, with all your kids. I haven't met them, but your son for sure. So I think that that's awesome. And any kids who are watching who might be thinking, hey, this is something I want to get into, or I have that same type of thing. Listen, Anna's son will show you how to do it. Just turn on the charm and get everybody to come up to your table. So I absolutely love that. We are wrapping things up. Anna wants you to know that if you host a show for her in November, you get a special gift. Also, if you're interested in joining Scentsy, she is open to that. Check her out on all her social media platforms. As she's told you, you can find her on Etsy. You can find her on, not Etsy, I'm sorry, I made that up. On Instagram and on Facebook, as well as her own website, which is lamia2623.scentsy.us. If you reach out to me, I can get you connected to her. So she's out there for you guys, and she is doing her thing. So therefore, we have got a real treat tonight, because she has a spectacular journey. So again, this segment should be called No more excuses. So when I do my YouTube short from this, that's what I'm going to name it. No more excuses, because you definitely have shattered that myth that you need so much in order to get started. So I absolutely love it. I want to thank you for taking time to hang out with me tonight. I know it's a Friday evening and you have family and things that you got to get done, especially from a long week. So I truly appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who was hanging out with us in the chat. If you could not be with us live, you can certainly catch it on the replay. CLM Custom Designs on YouTube. You can find Anna's story as well as many other stories of entrepreneurs so you can get inspired. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. Anna, hang on for a second while I wrap this up.
Yes.